Namtufana nathi yazingenela. Akuna all right namuhla.
Hayi nami I'm rising today. I'm rising. Ngiphethe madod.
Makhelwane wamcabanga. Umakhelwane wami kodwa asibonani.
Out of order, mbona kusinayivele nje letini utisusela ngale muva ya umshayidi isiboda nyanga hayi ngisho khona uyamuva nje kuzingethi nje mabathi ngoba isukile angizi nakhathi deputy speaker sekayishayele marathon
I never respond.
no, but it's a better melee. Yeah, better melee. We may be seated. I shall then call upon the Secretary to read the fifth order of the day.
Order number 5, Policy and Budget Speech on Vote 1, Office of the Premier.
I now call upon the Honorable Premier of the province to deliver the policy and the budget speech.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, thanks for this opportunity that is given to me to present our budget. Speaker of the Mpumalanga Legislature, Honorable Masina, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Masango, members of the Executive Council, honorable members of the legislature, when I was debating in the last, Honorable Sideve used to advise me that you must know that there is a leader of the opposition and must always greet the leader of the opposition. So today I am going to greet the leader of the opposition, Mayor Paddy, and also the Chief Whip of the African National Congress. I want to greet you, an extension of the Secretary of the ANC, the Acting DG, Mr. Pitanyone, and all officials that are here, Chairperson of Mpumalanga House of Traditional Leaders and Khoisan Leaders, President of Contralesa, Hoshi Mukwena, our communities that are present today here in the gallery, and those that are following us through various media platforms. I want to greet you all in the name of service delivery. Madam Speaker, it is with great honor and privilege to be given an opportunity to present the 2024-25 policy and budget position of the Office of the Premier on this important month, the Women's Month. We recognize the role played by women from all walks of life, including those that are from our beautiful province of Mpumalanga, in the struggle for the total emancipation of the people of South Africa. Allow me to salute the likes of Make Leta Shongwe, Mawesheweshe, and other leaders from the province. Let me echo the words of Thomas Sankara when he spoke about women's liberation and the African struggle and said, "Comrade, there is no true social revolution without the liberation of women. May my eyes never see and my feet never take me to a society where half the people are held in silence. I hear the roar of women's silence. I sense the rumble of their storm and feel the fury of their revolt." I want to applaud our caring government for renaming some of these key points, including the committee rooms in our legislature, buildings and roads after these heroines. Our government will continue to prioritize issues. Our government will continue to prioritize issues that affect women and children, in particular, gender-based violence, which I will address later in my speech. Madam Speaker, the strategic objective of the Office of the Premier is to play a pivotal role in providing coherent strategic leadership and coordination in provincial policy formulation and planning and overseeing service delivery planning and implementation in support of provincial and national priorities and plans. the Premier to be able to play his oversight, monitoring, and evaluation role, there is a need to build a capable, ethical, and developmental government. To strengthen the office, the Premier has engaged with the former, I don't know whether I am correct to call Mr. Makuku Mampura as a former, let me call him the DG of the province. We have engaged with the DG, Mr. Mampuru, who has been on leave since February 2024 because he feared for his life. He only wanted to come to the province to assist the Premier to settle. The Office of the Premier transferred the DG to the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, the MEC for the debt, subsequently seconded him to Nkomazi SEZ as the CEO to finish his term with all his specs. There are vacancies of HODs. Currently, 2 positions were advertised, and as part of my first 100 days, the department will appoint the 2 HODs for the debt and for community safety, security, and liaison. We all know that when I was addressing this August House, I indicated that as government, we will use the recruitment, or will use the principle of meritocracy to recruit quality officials to come and lead our department. So we're going to use talent, not popularity. It's only on political development, on political deployment, where you use popularity, talent, and morality. But in this case, because we will be recruiting officials to run our department, we'll use the principle of meritocracy, considering so deeply talents and morality. Because our intergovernmental system is decentralized with 3 interdependent, interrelated but distinct spheres of government, it presents a considerable amount of complexity to policy formulation and implementation, as well as monitoring and evaluation. In concurrent function, there are policies which are promulgated by one sphere of government, while budgeting and implementation for that function takes place within another sphere of government. This complexity requires intensive sectoral, intergovernmental, functional, and spatial coordination across the policy-making, planning, budgeting, and implementation processes. Furthermore, joint work in the form of collaborative programs, projects, and services across the 3 spheres of government, as it is done through the district development model, is important. Joint work creates a compelling requirements for collaborative monitoring and evaluation. Well-functioning monitoring and evaluation systems are therefore indispensable for ensuring the smooth functioning of the machinery of government in a way that policy aims and objectives are achieved. In addition, we need to ensure that provincial department plans are indeed responsive to IDPs, enabling the IDPs to inform the alignment of policies, planning and budgeting of all 3 spheres of government. Hence, our DDM approach of one plan. My office coordinates the monitoring of the provision of basic services by municipalities such as water, sanitation, electricity, and infrastructure to ensure that the socio-economic rights of citizens of their province is realized. Our monitoring and evaluation system must have early warning signs that alert us of potential service delivery breakdowns or financial crisis within municipalities so that we can timeously provide support to equip the office with proper monitoring and evaluation system. An amount of 40 million rand is budgeted to secure service delivery monitoring tool. The process is at an advanced stage. The tool will assist us to collect, analyze, and report data on service delivery performance of all municipalities, departments, and all SOEs. The system will assist to identify and bridge gaps between different sectors of government. This will encourage collaboration, coordination, and synergy across departments, pooling resources, expertise, and perspective to achieve integrated solutions. Madam Speaker, I am happy that the goals we set for ourselves in the 2023-24 financial year have been achieved. We have successfully achieved the evaluation of the implementation and effectiveness of 3 important programs. Program number 1, the building of boarding school programs. Program number 2, the Fortune 40 Agricultural Intervention Program, the Household Initiative for Sustainable Livelihood Intervention Program. The implementation of these 3 programs emanating from these scientific studies, including improvement plans for the intervention, will be presented to the Executive Council soon to inform decisions on the enhancement of this program. However, the use of resources in an efficient manner was found to be a challenge. Among others, the study recommended a review of the program's guidelines, streamlining the procurement process, improving departmental monitoring and evaluation of the program, strengthening collaboration with partners, and integrate internal audit of the processes. In this current financial year, 2024-25, we are continuing to evaluate 8 other interventions, namely the integrated municipal support system, the upgrading of informal settlement program, primary health care facilities, the implementation of the tourism development program, the implementation and effectiveness of transversal supplier contract, Sakabaki contracts program, the oversight program on policing and tourism safety monitoring program, the Pezukom Kondo Mlimi, the Premier's Youth Development Fund, at the Office of the Premier. Of the above-mentioned evaluation studies, 5 have been commissioned already. The Integrated Municipal Support Program was concluded in the first quarter of this financial year. We commit to finalize the 2 remaining studies this financial year. Evaluation is an important tool that uses systematic and scientific method to generate scientific evidence. Madam Speaker, we have already held our first quarter Mpumalanga Provincial AIDS Council meeting to review and approve decisions that were taken in the last sitting of MPAC during the 6th administration. The government developed National Strategic Plan 2023 to 2028, which aims to eliminate HIV, TB, and STIs. And this was concluded on the 24th of March 2023 at Bushbuckridge Local Municipality. The Provincial MPAC Steering Committee has already commenced with the alignment of the plan and develop the provincial implementation plan for HIV, TB, and STIs. As part of awareness campaign, the provincial successfully commemorated the Provincial World AIDS Day on the 1st of December 2023, as well as the TB Day on the 24th of March 2024. We will always use these events through Cheka Impilo campaign and provide comprehensive government services in partnership with our social partners. In the current financial year, the province is assisting all municipalities to develop their multi-sectoral district and local implementation plans for HIV, TB, and STIs aligned to the 2023-2028 provincial implementation plans. Madam Speaker, in this current financial year, we will continue to establish new partnerships meant to support socio-economic development initiatives in line with the provincial priorities. Over and above that, the office will strengthen the existing partnership with provinces, private institutions, and developmental agencies in Africa, BRICS member countries, and the rest of the world. There are trade and investment opportunities identified in Austria and Kenya as part of the regional integration. The Office of the Premier will support the work of the Department of Economic Development and Tourism to attract trade and direct foreign investment into the province. We will renew Memorandum of Understanding with provinces of Maputo, Russian Federation, German, and the People's Republic of China. There is an increase of requests for courtesy visit from foreign embassies to Mpumalanga with an aim of exploring the possibility of establishing partnership in areas of common interest. South Africa will host G20 in 2025. We are participating in the preparation of this important gathering. We are targeting to host one of the meetings to be held by finance ministers. The assumption of the chairmanship of South Africa's G20 by the president will mark the first time an African country's presidents over the G20. Madam Speaker, we are finalizing the 30-year review report for the province. This review will be concluded by the end of August 2024. It will include the review of the current provincial 5-year plan of 2019 to 2024 and the development of the 2024 to 2029 provincial plan in line with the new National Medium-Term Development Plan of 2024 to 2029 that is currently underway. Our priorities for the 7th Provincial Administration and the development of the medium-term development plan will be informed by our election manifesto and the priorities of the government of national unity, which is to drive inclusive growth and job creation, reduce poverty, and tackle the high cost of living, and build a capable, ethical, and developmental state. We plan to have an engagement session with all key stakeholders, including business forum and civil society organizations in the province to get their views and input. Upon the conclusion of this process, I will convene another Lekgotla in February 2025 to adopt the plan I will enter into performance agreement with members of the Executive Council as part of improving accountability on the implementation of the provincial MTDP. As we embark on the planning and implementation of the provincial MTDP, we'll be intensifying the implementation of the district development mode. As I committed during the opening of legislature address, the Premier's Coordination Forum will assume its critical role in overseeing the execution of the DDM-1 plan across all sectors, including the provincial MTDP. Madam Speaker, a provincial task team to oversee the establishment of the Mpumalanga Research Institute has been hard at work with representatives from the University of Witwatersrand and the University of Pretoria. The team held engagement session with the South African Local Government Association, the University of Mpumalanga, and Tshwane University of Technology. The task team has developed an MRI strategy which includes proposal, business model, and the implementation plan for the establishment of the institute. The province concluded a provincial chapter that formed part of the National Just Transition Plan. In this current financial year, the province will implement 3 initiatives for the institutionalization of Just Transition Framework. These include the establishment of Just Transition Governance Mechanism, coordination of Just Transition Partnership, as well as the development of the Just Transition Monitoring and Evaluation Framework. Madam Speaker, our government remains concerned by unacceptable high rate of unemployment, in particular youth unemployment. To curb this scourge, I hope that my pronunciation is correct, Comrade Sasekan, because yesterday you wanted to correct Malachi. You said not scourge, scourge. And there is no master of pronunciation. I know that we have got English teachers that they will correct me. They will tell me that there is a master of pronunciation and it's the dictionary. To curb the scourge and assist our youth to either get employment or start their own businesses, we are working on various programs and projects that have begun to yield positive results. The Premier's Youth Development Fund is one of them. Since its inception, we have supported 182 youth-owned businesses across the province. Young entrepreneurs that have their own dream. Sometimes when we talk of a dream, people think that we are saying that we are dreaming. We are saying that we are hallucinating. No. And people should not blame us for having our own dream if they don't have their dream. Young entrepreneurs created their own job opportunities and sustainable jobs for other youth. Provide them with an opportunity to develop work experience they so much need. Several jobs have been created and some are tapping into the well-established business to start new business adventures. There is one example of Sinhle Ngwenya of Kinross in Govenberg local municipality. Through this fund, she has established a printing company named Black Child. The company provides a much-needed service in his area and has created job opportunities for the local youth. It's a boy, it's not a she. In the current financial year, 100 million is allocated for the Premier's Youth Development Fund. We also intend to be biased on allocation towards young women and youth with disabilities. Madam Speaker, oh, it's not Madam Speaker. I've been saying Madam Speaker. Always.
No, it's okay.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, would like to warn those who may want to try and use youth with disabilities for fronting for their own selfish interests. Our monitoring and evaluation teams will be going out to monitor and evaluate businesses that are funded by government to ascertain that indeed these businesses are owned and managed by the targeted beneficiaries. Deputy Speaker, earlier on I made a reference to this horrendous act of violence that is perpetrated against women and children, the gender-based violence and femicide. The recent atrocities being the discovery of bodies of children who went missing, only to be found buried in shallow graves. I have requested the acting provincial commissioner to prioritize these kinds of criminality and apprehend the perpetrators. Honorable MEC Masia, want you to pay special attention because they are killed, because they are women and children and they cannot be able to protect themselves. Please pay special attention on these perpetrators. We are calling our courts to take stronger measures when considering bail application and ensure that they close all the loopholes and increase the positive verdict rate. We're told at a certain stage that the verdict rate is very low on GBVF. We want the police to pay special attention, close all the loopholes, starting from the pre-trial phase, and ensure that when you go to the trial phase, all the loopholes are closed. To strengthen our efforts in the war against GBVF, in 2023-24 financial year, we initiated the Mpumalanga Provincial Strategic Plan on GBVF, which is aligned to the National Strategic Plan on GBVF. National Strategic Plan on GBVF requires the establishment of rapid response teams and gender-based violence and femicide. The RRTS are a multi-stakeholder structure that are meant to swiftly respond to any form of GBV from the ward, local, and district municipalities. Currently, all municipalities except the Palisang local municipality. I hope that the MEC is listening, the former mayor of the Palisang. We are saying all municipalities except the Palisang local municipality have established the rapid response team, which are co-chaired by the executive mayor and one member of the civil society. The Palisang local municipality commits to establish the RRT on GBVF before the end of this month, August. For the RRTS to be functional, adequate budget need to be allocated in order to have programs that are effective in fighting GBVF. Madam Speaker, during, I will always call you Madam Speaker, you must understand that
maybe mfuna njalo.
Yes?
No, it's okay, Honorable Premier, you can continue. It's fine, we understand.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, during the 2023-24 financial year, Mpumalanga government initiated the development of the provincial policy on disability. The process is currently undergoing consultation phase with all relevant stakeholders. The key issues to be addressed by the policy, amongst others, is the implementation of the 3% employment for persons with disabilities, and to spend at least 7% of procurement on businesses owned by persons with disabilities. Honorable Deputy Speaker, in this current financial year, my office is making a firm commitment to implement the good intention of the policy in terms of achieving the 3% employment target for people with disabilities when we'll be filling vacant funded posts. Everyone has a role to play in ensuring that the rights of persons with disabilities are respected, adhered to, and their dignity is always maintained. My office remains open for engagement with the representative of the people with disabilities on their fundamental rights. We know that there is nothing about them without them, Madam Speaker. The view of the Mpumalanga public entities remain critical to identify possible gaps, improve performance, introduce mitigating measures, and enhance efficiencies. Honorable Deputy Speaker, on this financial year, the Office of the Premier, together with the Military Veteran Council, working with the National Department of Military Veterans, established the database for military veterans in the province. We now have a database of all veterans in the province. In this current financial year, my office will continue to coordinate the implementation of the Military Veterans Program of Action, as well as establishment of military veterans units and decks within the office of the Premier and district municipalities. Deputy Speaker, the Executive Council took a decision to establish a project management unit within the office of the Premier. The unit will assist government to monitor progress on government programs, especially infrastructure projects, and improve all areas of project management, including projects done within the allocated budget and on time, and also meeting the expected outcomes in terms of quality and quantity. The unit will also be responsible for reporting regularly on infrastructure development across the province. In its mandate, as the Center of Coordination, the Office of the Premier will ensure that the direct and indirect public engagement through EXCO outreach programs are held periodically across the 3 districts. Through this engagement, we commit to pay attention to the views of our citizens and will try to respond timeously to concerns raised by our communities. We'll use the Integrated Provincial Communication Plan as an instrument that guides this engagement and monitor the department's response on the views or concerns raised by our communities. Madam Speaker, to restore public confidence in the province, the office will continue to invade cases of fraud, corruption, and maladministration, and monitor the implementation of all the recommendations that are made. Madam Speaker, in an effort to improve audit outcome, the office had partnered with the Provincial Treasurer and COGSTA. Municipalities will also be assisted in this regard. Furthermore, through the shared audit services, the office is able to render internal audit services to 5 cluster departments. The report of the Auditor General in the province shows that 11 departments in the Mpumalanga Provincial Administration obtain unqualified audit outcome for this financial year, ended on the 31st of March 2024. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the outcome shows improvement as compared to the previous financial year, the year that ended on the 31st of March 2023. I was requested by the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee that he has been listening to my addresses. What she wants to hear today is the move for the adoption of the budget. We were also approached by other members here that, Comrade Mandla, we know you, that when you have a conch, you'll want to address us for more than 2 hours. Today, I am going to be the opposite of what you are expecting from me. It is therefore an honor, Madam Speaker, to table the budget of the Office of the Premier, Vote 1. And I accordingly request the House to approve the amount of 456,092,000 rand for the 2024-25 financial year, allocated as follows. Program 1, which is administration, 145,712,000 rand. Program 2, institutional development, 98,876,000 rand. Program 3, police and governance, 212,314,000 rand. I thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier, for a well-delivered policy and budget speech. Now call upon the Secretary to read the 6th order of the day.
Order number 6, consideration of a report of the Oversight Committee on Legislature and Premier's Office on Budget Vote 1, Office of the Premier.
Thank you very much. I now call upon the Chairperson of the Oversight Committee on Legislature, Premier's Office, Honorable Greuven Morgan, to table the report.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I rise as the Chairperson of the Oversight Committee on Legislature and Premier's Office to table the report of the Oversight Committee on Premier's Office on the 24-25 Annual Performance Plan and Budget Vote 1 of the Office of the Premier. I can confirm, Honourable Deputy Speaker, that the committee met with the Office of the Premier on the 25th of July to consider its budget and annual performance plan for the 24-25 financial year. I hereby ask the House to adopt the report and the budget as presented by the Honourable Premier. Thank you.
Honourable members, I'm informed that there is no debate on this report. I now put a question before the House whether we agree to adopt the report as tabled by Honourable Greuven Morgan.
Agreed.
Agreed, so agreed. It's okay. I call upon the Secretary to read the 7th order of the day.
Order number 7, Policy and Budget Speech on Vote 2, Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature.
Thank you, Secretary. I now call upon the Honorable Speaker of the Mpumalanga Legislature, Honorable Lindy Masina, to deliver the policy and budget speech. I think we can all clap hands for the Speaker, right? That's better, that's better.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, Mr. Masango, the Premier of Mpumalanga Province, Honorable Mandla Ndlovu, President of Contralesa and the Chairperson of Mpumalanga House of Traditional Leaders and Khoisan, Hoshi Mkwena, members of the 7th Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature, members of the Executive Council, executive mayors and speakers of Mpumalanga municipalities, the Secretary of the Legislature, Mr. H.M. Shabangu, and the management of the Legislature, Acting Director General of Mpumalanga Provincial Government, Mr. Nyoni, heads of department, Provincial Secretary of the African National Congress, Mr. Muzi Chirwa, and all leaders, leadership of the leagues of the ANC, our special guest, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, Sanibonani, Absheni. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I have a pleasure to table the 2024-2025 policy and budget speech of the Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature as we assume the business of the 7th Legislature following the national and provincial elections on the 29th of May 2024. This budget speech comes after all members of the Executive Council tabled their policy statements reflecting the policy priorities for the 7th administration in line with the Premier's address during the opening of the legislature on the 31st. Let us take this opportunity to congratulate yourself, Honorable Premier, on this mammoth task during the critical epoch in our unwavering mission that must see the rapture which continues our past as a practice to remake others' features. What does please that the Premier's address correctly captured and re-articulated fundamental contradictions and contending forces that characterize this moment with the post-1994 discourse. Deputy Speaker, as newly elected members of this legislature, we are cognizant of the multifaceted, interconnected, and interrelated crises that bedevil our society. In this way, government has enunciated efforts that are aimed at the redress of high levels of joblessness, ensure inclusive growth, reduce high cost of living, and build capable, ethical, and developmental state. Our submission to this August House, Honorable Deputy Speaker, as a reliable body of oversight, will be to outline our plans that shall ensure the set commitments are realized with the necessary agency of the current moment. Honorable Deputy Speaker, it is our individual and collective duty as honorable members of this legislature elected to this House that we become consumed by these priorities as we begin our work of this 7th legislature. The spirit that must be invoked as we capture our collective zeal for social change is premised on the African proverb which underscores, none can embrace the baobab tree, which means wisdom is born in the process of conversation and contestations amongst human beings. Therefore, the quest for truth is the basis for conversation and contestations. Honorable members of this legislature, this is what will give effect to the progressive oversight agenda, informed by the concrete material and existential conditions that will restore social well-being and human dignity. Thus, as an activist legislature, we are not in pursuit of the general interest. However, we seek social change grounded in refiguring from the point of view of the oppressed, working class, and the poor. Our radical intent for this 7th legislature, Honorable Premier, is to do things differently, do them otherwise, in distinctive ways towards another realm. It is a going against the grain in order that we think our agenda anew. It is a heightened confrontation of the structural challenges and institutions that generate and reproduce human sufferings. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the confrontation must unmask the phenomenon of political equality that does not translate to economic equality as deficient and barbaric, a product of capitalist accumulation and neoliberal prescriptions. It must also unmask the features of not just an abstract inequality, but a racialized, gendered inequality. It must unmask the systematization of inequality that led to the inauguration of the white supremacy as an ordering principle in all spheres of our lives. Ours, Honorable Deputy Speaker, is to take seriously as an activist legislature the structures, institutions, and designs that limit human potential as a result of modern colonial project. Honorable Premier, the three priorities of government in their intention to ease the pain of suffering must pay attention to the question of difference, which is racialized, gendered, and ethicized difference. Access to economic opportunities for blacks and women into the mainstream economy is still gravely affected by a highly concentrated white economic power structure that is still resistant to change, reinforcing inequalities in education, in healthcare, in access to quality jobs, access to markets for entrepreneurs, opportunities for diversification in business, access to capital and finance, and opportunities for self-reliance. Honorable Deputy Speaker, whilst the democratic state has introduced reforms, it hasn't gone enough to bring about change and radical transformation in inequality. Disadvantaged continues to be inherited between the generations, with an entrenched race, gender, and class dimension that is reproducing the legacy of oppression. Our approach for the revolutionary transformation of our economy must be grounded on the idea that the necessary and sufficient condition for a better life for all is a collective ownership and democratic control of the chief instrument or means of productions. It is an injunction that requires we become more deliberate, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and entrench a more ethical position underwritten by the principle that the free development of each is the condition for the free development for all. Deputy Speaker, we are thus making a call for a shift in our inherited sense of reality, our system of reality, and some of the assumptive logics we hold. That inclusion is the silver bullet to transform an inherently patriarchal, racialized, and capitalist economy. Therefore, it requires building a public economy against an over-reliance on capital whose interest is the bottom line. Deputy Speaker, the heroic 1956 generation that we commemorate during this month of August played its part against the secular colonial regime to ensure black women in particular enjoy the freedom to organize themselves, by themselves, with themselves, and for themselves. Charlotte Manya Makleke, the founding president of Bantu Women's League, currently the ANC Women's League, was renowned through reading of Zubeida Jaffe's book, which is called Beauty of the Heart, as a symbol of feminine ethics of care, which erased an idea that views politics as a play of power. As we begin the National Women's Day celebrations, we are reminded that Makleke articulated and worked to constitute a politics of feminine, which we are enjoying today, which is an attentiveness to and meeting the needs of others for whom we take responsibility. It is enhancing our capacities to acknowledge each other's emotional and relational capabilities, and foregrounding this rationality as opposed to privileging and idealizing our individual needs and wants. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the perennial and painstaking question is what concrete legacy are we to deliver to present and the coming generation? The revolutionary ethic of this generation of women offers alternative and more transformative ways of thinking about social change structured by humanness and that is connected, interdependent, and troubles the gender binaries of the patriarchal systems that impedes development. We are thus presenting this policy and budget speech as an unequivocal call to fundamental substantial change foregrounded on equality, justice, and freedom. Whilst liberation is a process, Honorable Deputy Speaker, never guaranteed and always unresolved, including contesting dominant forms and structures, we must usher other ways of doing politics and other ways of conduct our public service. It must be a public service that is both human and ethical in character. It must be the politics against mendacity and self-indulgent behavior, which is compromising the quality delivery of service and the ethics of hard work. To this end, honorable members, our legislature, in the spirit of Martin Luther King, should pledge itself to build our cultural will to pursue the ideals of justice, never to pull ourselves so low that we become indifferent to human sufferings. On institutional strategy, Honorable Deputy Speaker, it is informed by the strategic-oriented goals of legislature. We commit to ensure the following: an activist legislature that asserts the centrality of lived experience of our people as mechanism for social transformation, an effective oversight agenda that critically scrutinizes over government actions against the needs of our citizens, an active and involved public on matters before the legislature and government, and a healthy relationship in the spirit of cooperative governance between the legislature, government, and other organs of state. Honorable Deputy Speaker, on support of committees, the Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature Oversight Model remains our guide in implementing the oversight functions of the legislature. This is our action plan on how best to provide support to our committees and build an ethical, capable state. Our current challenge relates to the quality of oversight and perception of weakening state. We shall ensure qualitative oversight that works to bridge a gap between departments and portfolio committees. Honorable Speaker, equally, we intend to maximize the use of collaboration with strategic stakeholders and other institutions that supporting democracy to strengthen oversight. We will refocus resources to enable strengthened research and investigation for quality interrogation of documents. We will also strengthen resolution tracking to ensure committees use this legal instrument to monitor closely progress by departments. However, we should underline that the prospects and success of committees requires members to be attendant and more rigorous, without fear, without favor, without prejudice. This means, Honorable Speaker, more careful and thoroughgoing examination of activities of government. While we can exercise this oversight, we must be seen doing it, honorable members. On public participation, honorable members, public participation is the entry point for our people to access legislature and participate and partake in the administration of the country, in our case, of the province, as envisioned by the Freedom Charter. It is an important arm that ensures effective oversight and lawmaking driven by the people from below. The legislature continues to involve the public in its processes and programs through the sitting of this House, committee work, public hearings, petition processes, public education, sector-based parliament. We are going to have the Women's Parliament in this month, taking legislature to the people. In September, we are having one in Mkondo. Maximize the use of communication platforms and constituency offices. Honorable Deputy Speaker, our challenge in the period ahead is the need for a new dynamism. Following the 2024 national and provincial elections, we have noted with very serious concern the lower levels of voter turnout. As an institution that defends democracy, we are thus confronted with the need to re-energize more civic involvement in public affairs. Members, in all activities of public participation, often the temptation has been to delegate such activities to officials or the staff. However, the expectation of our people is that the elected public representatives should be at the forefront of our interaction with them. This will be important as we shall redesign some of our models of public participation following through assessment of the 30 years since the democratic dispensation. The Mpumalanga Petitions Act number 6 of 2000 enjoins that we further strengthen the petition desk. While there has been notable increase in the use of this platform, we must popularize this interface in order that the public fully utilize all avenues that can expedite service delivery and responsiveness. On parliamentary proceeding, Honorable Deputy Speaker, whilst government has put in place policy that seeks to address the inequality of languages in South Africa, some of indigenous languages in South Africa, particularly those that are dominant in our province, such as Siswati and isiNdebele, are still not developed and recognized as languages of science and technology. These languages were deliberately stunned as an exercise of colonialism that ensured that erasure of indigenous languages and knowledge to exert the totality of suppression. Thus lies the responsibility to extend participatory democracy by ensuring the equal promotion and use of indigenous languages as a matter of necessity. Deputy Speaker, the continuation of status quo that hierarchizes languages use is intended to continue the linguistic genocide which intends to eliminate our history, our memory, our sense of place, our sense of reality, and the sense of identity. The fact that English still dominates both the public and private spheres of preferred medium of instruction is instructive of the democratic dispensation. Linguist scholars contend that linguistic rights, including the right to mother tongue use, is a human right and crucial to promoting cultural diversity. As a legislature, honorable members, we have a language policy that favors the development of languages that are spoken in the province. Previously, the legislature embarked on a terminology development drive that elevates the status of previously marginalized languages through the creation of specialized terminology in indigenous languages. In this regard, we have produced a legal terminology list ready for dissemination for our people to use. This legal terminology list includes 5 indigenous languages, which is Siswati, isiNdebele, Sepedi, Sitsonga, and isiZulu. On lawmaking, honorable members, the Constitution empowers Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature to consider, pass, or amend any bill before the legislature. Honorable members, I am pleased to report that during the 2023-2024 financial year, the legislature considered 20 national and provincial bills. In response to strategic outcome-oriented goal of improving lawmaking and the effectiveness of legislation for the benefit of the people of this province, we intend to process more provincial legislation from the Executive Council in line with the Constitution and rules and orders. We also intend to put systems in place to ensure members of the public are effectively involved in the lawmaking processes by making written and oral submission during the consideration of bills by portfolio committees. On financial governance, we continue with the cost curtailment and containment measures to ensure legislature is sustainable and ably execute its mandate. However, honorable members, we are confronted with a reducing budget not sufficient enough to cover all the budget pressures identified in ensuring that the legislature meets its broad mandate. The cost containment measures implemented include, amongst others, holding more virtual meetings instead of physical meetings, limiting the engine capacity and kilometers traveled when claiming for official trips. Of course, without compromise to the support to oversight committees. Furthermore, we shall cut costs incurred in legislature events, limiting the use and hire of external facilities and lodgings. We shall also prioritize the filling of only critical funded vacant posts. To this end, Honorable Deputy Speaker and honorable members, we request cooperation and patience from members and staff as we ensure changes in the legislature spending patterns without the compromise of core business of the legislature. This injunction requires greater value in the use of public resources so that we do more with less. Honorable Deputy Speaker, on Provincial Speakers Forum, the Mpumalanga Provincial Speakers Forum is an important platform for provincial speakers to share their best practices and set the agenda for legislative sector in the province. We will continue to ensure this forum of speakers is functional in order for the legislature fulfills its support to local government, particularly as we approach the 2026 local government elections. This forum will also ensure seamless interaction and coordination of the programs of the sector from National Speakers Forum. On Members' Affairs, Honorable Deputy Speaker, we will continue to provide the necessary support and tools of trade required to enable members to successfully execute their mandate. Since the beginning of our term, we have conducted induction of all members of the legislature. We will continue with support training of members in partnership with accredited institutions of higher learning. On inter-parliamentary bodies and relations, Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature will also continue to build inter-parliamentary relations through its participation in the international and regional parliamentary bodies and conduct parliamentary exchange programs with countries within the continent and the world. However, honorable members, alternative ways and means to ensure exchange programs shall be explored through reduced budget expenditure. This includes the use of online platforms and sharing of archives and material. On national building and social cohesion, Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature Nation Building and Social Cohesion Program makes meaningful contribution to the process of weaving together a nation in placemaking from our divided past. Our programs of nation building and social cohesion will continue to address the plight and the most vulnerable in society, of the most vulnerable in our society. In this financial year, we have expanded our interventions from social relief program targeting families and children to also focus on the informal sector through provision of support to local formal traders by providing them with the necessary tools for more viable businesses. We thus implore social partners to make available their resources capacity to ensure we continue to reach the most destitute families. In conclusion, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the total amount proposed to be appropriated to vote to Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature for 2024-2025 financial year is 519,013,000 rand and is allocated to two programs as follows. Program 1, which is administration, 244,339,000 rand. Program 2, parliamentary business, 207,308,000 rand. On direct charge against the provincial revenue fund, 67,366,000 rand. Let me then take this opportunity, Honorable Deputy Speaker, thank your good self for the unwavering support in the office. Let me also thank the Chief Whip of the majority party, the presiding officers, leaders of political parties, and all honorable members of this legislature for your valued contribution and support. The Premier of this province, Honorable Mandla Ndlovu, and all members of Executive Council, for your cooperation and hard work, making the business of the legislature more effective. Let me thank the Secretary to the legislature, management and staff that ensure professional administrative support to all honorable members. How can I forget to thank the African National Congress for entrusting me with this responsibility? Lastly, honorable members, let me thank my family, my comrades, who remain my pillar of strength and support. We table the policy and budget statements and request these sitting honorable members to appropriate and approve the amount as proposed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for a well-crafted and well-delivered policy budget speech. Let's give a big round of applause for Speaker, really. You can do better. The Secretary shall read the 8th order of the day.
Order number 8, consideration of a report of the Oversight Committee on Legislature and Premier's Office on Budget Vote 2, Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature.
I now call upon the Chairperson of the Oversight Committee of Legislature and Premier's Office, Honorable T.M.J. Grove-Morgan, to table the report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise as the Chairperson of the Oversight Committee on Legislature and Premier's Office to table the report of the Oversight Committee on Legislature on the 2024-2025 Annual Performance Plan and Budget Vote 2 of the Office of the Legislature. I confirm, Honorable Deputy Speaker, that the committee met with the Office of the Legislature on the 25th of July 2024 to consider its budget and annual performance plan for the 2024-2025 financial year. I hereby ask this House to adopt the report and the budget as presented. I thank you.
Okay. I'm informed that there is no debate on this. So that brings honorable members. I want to check. No. Take it easy. I want to check. Whether, honorable members, I want to bring this matter before you. Whether we agree to adopt the report as tabled by Honorable Grove-Morgan. Agreed?
Agreed. Our salaries agreed. You cannot.
Thank you very much, Rive. Thank you very much. Honorable members, that brings the end of today's business. We are all requested to remain standing at our place until the procession have left the chamber. We thank all our guests who came from the walk and life of our province. We thank you. It means a lot to us. The House is adjourned until the 15th of August 2024, 10 o'clock, in the very same chamber.
We can do better. Yeah. Madam Deputy Speaker. Malibongwe, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker.